I appreciate you staying on hold, and we appreciate a couple moments. And let's get right to it. I know time's of the essence with you on this Thursday, but Carolina 5-0 right off the bat. What has been the difference for the Panthers early on this season?
Well, this team didn't just scratch this year, Rich. I mean, this Panther team really for the last two seasons prior to 2015 has had a psychological hardness about it that's been forged through a coaching staff that's vibrant. It's young. It's forward thinking. They relate well to the players. It's been based upon the Panthers forging a series of difficult wins in the Coach Ron Rivera era. Early, the Panthers suffered some just eviscerating, heartbreaking late losses, and those were difficult times, but the Panthers are back from that, playing very confident football, and I think it's a talented team. I think Chip Kelly and his staff would probably say it's a pretty good roster, 1 through 53, with a trigger man that is at or near the height of his career powers right now.
I think, and that's a great segue into Cam Newton, because you lose Benjamin, but yet you still have Olsen, who's playing at a all-pro, Pro Bowl caliber level this year. I always thought he was an underrated tight end, utilizing him a lot more with those seam routes and down the field. But what about Cam Newton? Look, I know a lot of people, quarterbacks are going to turn the football over, but you can live with turnovers. But the fact that this guy can wreck and ruin a game with his legs, especially on third down, I think that might be the difference Sunday night and maybe the difference for this team going forward. But how has Cam Newton been able to turn it around over the last season plus, and especially going into this season, the first 5 games?
Well, let's call it for what it is, Rich. You guys are astute there in South Jersey and northern Philadelphia. That's very knowledgeable there, as the hosts have to be. And I wish Southern guys weren't as nice. I wish we had a little bit more Northeastern down here, so we wouldn't be so.
You don't want that.
Give our tickets to the Eagles fans wearing the Harold Carmichael and Ron Jaworski jerseys. But that's a topic for another show. But I think Cam Newton has worked hard at it. I mean, he's worked hard on his leadership. He's worked hard on ball geometry, cleaning up his throwing motion, not being a winder-upper. He'll vary his release points like many good quarterbacks do. Sometimes he'll throw off of his a sidearm throw, kind of leaning backward, but he preloads early, so the end result is that the ball is not late on arrival. Plus, he's got incredible arm strength. And then, as you mentioned, he's not just a good runner for a quarterback. He's a good runner for a runner.
Yeah. It's funny, too, because when you see him break the pocket, the one thing I've noticed, and obviously I haven't followed them as closely as you have this year, doing the play-by-play and covering the team for so many years, but his decision-making, it's quicker this year. It seems as though, okay, if I see a running lane, if the pocket collapses, if I get flushed out of the pocket, I'm pulling it down, I'm taking off. Where in years past, I would call it almost like the Kaepernick syndrome sometimes, where you try to tap the ball a little bit, you move around, you go backwards, you get sacked for a loss, you throw off your back foot, you throw a bad pass. I just think overall his football IQ has really started to settle in this year, and you're seeing it with some big plays.
Right, he's never been a dumbhead. I mean, he's always been probably more astute than he got credit for coming out of Auburn. You know, if he could rack up the John Gruden quarterback camp, do it again, he might do it differently. But the Panther coaching staff vetted him very carefully, and the front office and scouts did as well, and saw a young man that doesn't guess back there as much, but he tries to read, and he reads coverages. On the touchdown drives against Seattle at Seattle, fellas, he completed passes to a wide receiver. So he's not just back there saying, oh, where's Steve Smith, or you know, where's Funchess, or where's Greg Olsen? He's seeing things, and that gives you hope moving forward as an offense.
Couple minutes with Mick Mixon joining us right here on the Thursday edition of the warm-up. Rich Quinones here. We'll take you up to 2. And again, Mick, excuse the voice. It's these Jersey winter/fall allergies that are doing me in, but I appreciate a couple moments. What have you seen as far as the Carolina defense? And the reason I'm asking you is because Carolina's going up against an Eagles team that the offensive line has been much maligned through the first quarter of the season. They've settled down a little bit. Obviously, the Giants had no pass rush at all, so it made their life a lot easier on Monday night. But you got a quarterback back there who at times is very skittish. We've been very critical of Sam Bradford's performance, and I think a lot of it's been justified, regardless of rust or not. The injuries, turning over the ball at an alarming rate. Does the Carolina Panthers Do they feel they're going to have some opportunities if they can pressure Bradford a little bit, maybe exploit that offensive line? They can get to him. They can get some early turnovers in this game.
I don't know. I think possibly, but two things I want to say about that, Rich. Number one is the Panthers, and you're very kind in your assessment of the Panthers season so far, and it has been great to be 5-0. It's a fantastic start, but we can still go 5-11 from here.
Absolutely.
And last year's Panther team showed that this is not science. This is inexact. I mean, Carolina was 3-8-1 last year.
Yep.
And then flamed on and won the division and went to the playoffs. Now they got some help from Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa Bay in a weaker than normal division. But my point is that if Carolina starts thinking that it's arrived or Cam Newton's turned the corner, now he's an elite quarterback, Philadelphia will win 50-0. So I think what the Panthers have to do is try to, number one, be physical with Eagle receivers. Do not allow Eagle receivers and a tight end a free release into the route tree. Number two, be careful how you rush Bradford because he's Chip Kelly's shell game. You know, you start just when you think you know where the rabbit is, it gets pulled out from another sleeve.
Yeah.
And then the way teams have a hard time substituting with that offense is very well conceived. So I think the Panthers will be well rehearsed, and just hopefully Carolina can give the Eagles a better game than last year's debacle.
Yeah, that game was over before